Right, thank you, Storm. So, when Doctor Who regenerates at the end of the current series, should he become a woman? Now, there's been feverish expectation in the papers as to who should replace Peter Capaldi as the 13th official Time Lord on big screen or small. Former Doctor Who assistant Billy Piper says it's time for a woman to play the role. The bookies seem to agree. Odds-on favourite to replace Capaldi is Fleabag star Phoebe Waller-Bridge. While Tilda Swinton's been in the frame, I think Olivia Colman and Maxine Peake too. The highbrow TV critic Mark Lawson says a female Doctor is vital to keep the franchise alive. Viewing figures of late have slipped from a high of 10.7 million 8 years ago to 4.6 million on Saturday. And to be fair, there have been similar arguments about Ian Fleming's double agent James Bond. All 14 of Fleming's books since 1953 have 007 as a man. In all 24 official films, he's been a fella too. Although, interestingly, he's been played by a Scot, an Aussie and an Irishman. No one seemed too bothered about his sort of ethnic roots, if we like. So what about calls for a woman to take up his licence to kill in the future? And as if you've read the papers, you know that Gillian Anderson is being touted as a potential replacement. But if we can make Bond female instead of male, then what about black instead of white? Rewriting history to satisfy equality campaigners, you could say, is an ironic move when you consider that we've misrepresented Shakespeare's Othello on stage for centuries by smothering white faces in black makeup. Well, it's very unlikely that people would do that again these days. Or do we leave Doctor Who and Bond alone and instead concentrate on developing new, strong, original female characters to capture global audiences? The Hunger Games proves it can be done. Written by a woman, Suzanne Collins, starring a woman, Jennifer Lawrence, produced by a woman, Nina Jacobson. The films have taken over £3 billion at the box office, and they seem to be loved by men and women, boys and girls alike. So, I'll start with you, Simon. The last thing you can do with this one first. Rewrite the characters, breaking the tradition and the history, or develop new ones instead?
Well, personally, I think that people like familiarity, and that's the reason that people might be pushing back. And the only way that you get familiarity is by having things being done more and more. So when it comes to recurring characters like Doctor Who or James Bond, I think that Doctor Who could be a man or a woman, yes, in my opinion. James Bond is James Bond, but then again, it's 007. So you could. So
the bit that bothers me is if you change someone's sex to satisfy the equality lobby or to make things fair, will it not always be perceived as, this is an afterthought thought to please the PC brigade? And actually what we're afraid of is developing new material with females right at the front. There's not enough of it.
Well, I advocate that too. I think there's so many writers out there developing fantastic new material that gets pushed aside because of the old stuff. But there is space for the old stuff as well, and
so I
think that let's try it. Okay. You never know until you try. So.
Well, I've worked with Olivia. I've worked with Maxine Peake. I've worked with Tilda Swinton. Extraordinary actors. End of. My Doctor is a woman, so that's a point I would just like to make straight away. Around James Bond and 007, I think ultimately our Secret Service are diverse and always have been.
Run by a woman as well.
Run by a woman, but they've always been diverse. I think in the past, when you look back at the old pantos and the old Shakespeare, men played women because women weren't allowed in the role. So maybe there's a point of redress, maybe, that people could allow, just redress, but just listen, there are actors and technicians and creatives out there with the skill set to play these roles. And once you get used to it, you'll be fine.
But will it not always be seen as, we've had Doctor Who for years now, and now it's time for women, that keeps everybody happy. When in actual fact, what we should be looking for is more original material where women are right to the front, where black characters are right to the front. There's more of it, but we could do with more still.
Well, I think there's both, and I think what happens when you've got a fan base for something like, you've seen it with Thor. They've recently created a female Thor.
And in the comics, I was just about to say, 100,000 copies a month
more successful. The world is half the world of female. People, this is an economic. It's not just about sort of PC. It's economics and business, and we want to see new things. Yeah, and we want to show that we're open and progressive. So I'm all for change, always.
Okay.
I would like to see a world where the best person gets the job, whether they're male, female, transgender,
do you rewrite
whatever.
the job title to fit their gender or skin colour?
No. it's still Doctor Who. Man, woman, doesn't really matter.
Sean Connery's
I
James
just want
Bond
to go
was
to a
always a man.
level
Sean
playing
Connery's James Bond
field.
was always a man. All those
Yes,
books.
so I don't know. Who is the best person for the job? That's what we should be looking at, not what sex they are.
Okay.
I think, as you were saying, James Bond is defined by being an old-fashioned, male, suave, chauvinistic man. If you change that, you've just got another spy movie. By its very nature, Doctor Who is interchangeable. The whole point is that he changes every
So Doctor Who is
years.
easier. James Bond is more of a problem.
I think so, because then you might as well have not Die Hard, the Bourne Supremacy, those sort of films. It loses its identity, whilst with Doctor Who, it almost adds to it.
I like that line. I hadn't thought of that. Lovely.
And new stuff.
And new stuff. Definitely want new stuff.
We really want.
The phones are red hot, which is what I would expect on this kind of subject. What are people saying?
We've got Darren online too.
Morning, Darren.
Hello, Matthew.
What do you think of Dan's point just there, that James Bond is, as a character, a chauvinist sort of guy from a different era, so it'll be much harder to reinvent him as a woman than it would be Doctor Who?
I think reinventing James Bond would be a stupid idea. I think the character is established. He's got a male pronoun. Changing Bond, no.
Okay, Doctor Who?
Doctor Who, if you'd asked me, I've been a fan of Doctor Who for 45 years, give or take. And if you'd asked me 5 years ago, I would have said no, absolutely not. And now, I'm much more open to the idea.
What's changed, Dan?
I don't want to get too geeky.
Phew. Go on.
They regenerated the Master into Missy.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it. The character of Missy is fantastic, played by Michelle Gomez.
Yeah.
But the Master is a typically male pronoun. Okay. Doctor is a very ambiguous pronoun. And doctors can be women, doctors can be men. I've got to the point now, I don't actually care. I want the right person for the job.
Darren, I think...
Person for the job.
Yeah, the right person for the job. I think you've got the panel with you there. We've only got a few seconds, so I'll give the last word to the audience, Shay.
We have Ruth. Hi. What would be